Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. My wife changing our relationship status to "it's complicated" on Facebook without warning me was bad enough. But when I changed mine to "single" and her entire friend group started congratulating her on a divorce that hadn't happened yet, that's when things got interesting. Let me tell you exactly how I made sure she got the public breakup she was performing for. Ashley and I had been married for 6 years. Together for 8. We were private people. The kind of couple who lived our lives instead of documenting them. Ashley used to laugh at those couples who posted everything online. Why do they need strangers to validate their relationship? She'd say. We had our Sunday morning tradition. Coffee together, phones put away, real conversation. Weekly date nights in Fishtown where we'd try new restaurants and actually talk to each other. No drama, no games, just partnership. Then Vanessa Holland slid back into her life. It started innocently enough. Ashley reconnected with her old sorority sister through Instagram. Just catching up with an old friend, she told me. Vanessa had just gone through a divorce and was suddenly everywhere on social media. She ran this lifestyle and empowerment account with 47,000 followers. Posted photos with designer bags and captions about finding herself. What Ashley didn't mention was that Vanessa's ex-husband had publicly shared their divorce papers, showing she'd been cheating with her photographer. But I'd find that out later. The first change was subtle. Ashley started taking photos of her food before we ate. At first, it was just one quick shot. Then it became multiple angles, different filters, adjusting the placement of the fork, moving the glass to catch the light better. Our meals got cold while she curated the perfect image. I noticed but didn't comment. It seemed harmless enough, even if it was annoying. Then the comments started. Vanessa says I have such a good eye for composition, she'd say, staring at her phone instead of her plate. She thinks I should post more. And then the phrase that should have been a bigger red flag. She's really found herself after her divorce. She says it was the best thing that ever happened to her. Found herself. As if being divorced and desperate for online validation was some kind of enlightenment. As if destroying a marriage was a path to self-discovery. I asked about Vanessa's ex-husband once. Ashley got defensive immediately. It's not about him. It's about Vanessa choosing herself. Right. Choosing herself by having an affair and then rebranding the fallout as empowerment. But I didn't know about the affair yet. That detail would come later. 2 weeks after the reconnection, Vanessa invited Ashley to join something called the Authenticity Circle, a group chat with 2 other women, Kelsey Brooks and Amanda Price. Ashley announced this like she'd been accepted into an exclusive club. It's only for women who are serious about living their truth publicly, she said, her eyes bright with something I didn't recognize. Excitement? Validation from strangers? I wasn't sure. The moment Ashley joined that group, her phone became an extension of her hand. It started buzzing constantly. During dinner, during movies, during conversations. She'd be texting them, laughing at messages I wasn't part of. When I'd ask what was so funny, she'd say, "You wouldn't get it. It's a circle thing." A circle thing. Like she'd joined a cult. "The girls think I should document my life more," she announced one evening, not looking up from her screen. "Be more visible." I looked at her across the table. Why do strangers need to see our life? It's not about strangers, she said, finally meeting my eyes. It's about living authentically. There it was. That word. Authentic. It would become her favorite over the next few weeks. She started using phrases like showing up authentically and curating my narrative. Words that sounded like they'd been fed to her by someone selling something. I did my research on the Authenticity Circle. It didn't take much digging. Everything was public. Vanessa Holland, 31 years old, living in a rented condo in Rittenhouse Square that she constantly photographed to look like she owned it. Her Instagram bio read, life coach and empowerment advocate. Her ex-husband had publicly shared their divorce papers on Facebook after she tried to spin their split as mutual growth. The papers showed infidelity, an affair with her photographer, the man who'd been taking all those perfect shots of her perfect life. Her engagement numbers told the real story. Before the divorce, she averaged 2,300 likes per post. After the truth came out, 400, sometimes less. But she kept posting, kept pretending. Designer bags that she admitted in comments were rented from some service. Restaurant photos where other people pointed out she only ordered appetizers. A lifestyle built on credit cards and delusion. Kelsey Brooks, 33 years old, living in a converted garage studio in North Hollywood. Not even a real apartment. A garage. Her landlord had mentioned it in the comments of one of her posts, correcting her when she called it a cozy bungalow. She ran a dating advice TikTok account despite never having a relationship last more than 4 months. Her content was all about never settling and knowing your worth and high-value living. Her teenage niece followed the account and regularly commented things like, "Aunt Kelsey, when are you going to take your own advice? And this is why you're still single, lol." Kelsey would delete the comments, but not before dozens of people saw them and piled on. Her last 3 videos had more "this is why you're single" comments than actual views. She'd post thirst traps on Friday nights, desperately hoping someone would slide into her DMs. Then she'd post on Sunday about how she was too high value to waste her weekend on low-effort men. The math didn't math. Amanda Price, 35 years old, twice divorced, currently engaged to man number 4. His name was Trevor. He was 23. She'd met him at a music festival in Austin when she was supposedly there for spiritual awakening content. He didn't follow her on Instagram, didn't like her posts, didn't acknowledge their relationship on his own social media. Red flags that Ashley's other advisors chose to ignore. Amanda's content was all relationship truth and what I learned from my marriages. Her 2 ex-husbands both followed her account. Both regularly commented correcting her version of events. "That's not what happened, and you know it. Stop rewriting history. You cheated on me, and now you're making yourself the victim?" She'd delete their comments, but the screenshots circulated. Everyone knew the truth. She wasn't living off her content creation, which brought in maybe $200 a month. She was living off Trevor, the 23-year-old, until he wised up like the others had. These were the experts Ashley had decided to trust with advice about our marriage. 3 women who couldn't maintain their own relationships. 3 women whose lives were demonstrably falling apart. 3 women who needed Ashley to fail so they wouldn't feel so alone in their failures. The irony wasn't lost on me. Ashley created a new Instagram account and started posting daily. Coffee cups, outfit shots, sunset photos. Never included me in any of them. When I asked why, she had her answer ready. The girls say a woman needs her own identity separate from her relationship. Vanessa commented on every post within minutes. Heart emojis. "Yes, queen. You're glowing." And Ashley would light up like she'd won something. Her reaction to those comments became more important than our actual conversations. Our Sunday morning tradition died quietly. She'd sit across from me checking her engagement metrics instead of engaging with me. One evening at Fork, this restaurant in Center City we used to love, she barely looked up from her phone during dinner. "The girls think we post too little about our relationship," she said, scrolling through something. "It looks suspicious." I kept my voice calm. Suspicious to who? And why would we care? People assume if you're not sharing your relationship, something's wrong. We know something's right. Why does anyone else matter? She rolled her eyes in a way that was completely new. "You don't understand social media dynamics. You're so offline." That was the first time she used being offline as an insult. Vanessa started hosting weekend content creation workshops at her apartment. Ashley attended every Saturday. Our Saturday morning hikes through Wissahickon Valley Park, something we'd done for years, just stopped. When I asked about it, she said she needed to invest in her growth. Her growth apparently looked a lot like becoming obsessed with strangers' opinions. She'd come home from these workshops talking about personal branding and authentic storytelling. Meanwhile, our life together became less authentic by the day. Everything turned into content. Everything. Our morning coffee routine went from a peaceful moment of connection to a 15-minute photo shoot followed by 2 minutes of actual conversation. She'd arrange her mug, my mug, the morning light streaming through the window. Take 50 photos. Choose one. Edit it. Write a caption about mindfulness and morning rituals. Post it. Check for immediate engagement. Then finally, maybe, take a sip of her now lukewarm coffee. "The girls say mornings set the tone for your whole life," she explained when I asked why we couldn't just drink our coffee like normal people. "Documenting it makes me more intentional." Date nights became exercises in getting the right angle and the perfect lighting. We'd go to a restaurant in Fishtown, somewhere we used to love. She'd spend 10 minutes photographing the menu from different angles before we even ordered. Then the food would arrive, and she'd rearrange the plates. "Move the glasses. Adjust the silverware. The composition is off," she'd mutter, leaning over the table with her phone. I'd watch her take 47 photos of the same plate of pasta. Not an exaggeration. 47. I counted. Are we on a date or a photo shoot? I asked one night, trying to keep my voice light. She looked at me like I'd said something offensive. The girls say relationships that don't exist online might not be real. Like if you're not sharing it, are you really experiencing it? I stared at her. We're sitting right here. This is literally as real as it gets. I'm looking at you. You're looking at your phone. You wouldn't understand. Your mindset is too traditional. Traditional. Because I thought our relationship should be experienced instead of performed. Because I believed that a moment shared between two people didn't need to be broadcast to strangers for validation. She instituted a new household rule. She needed golden hour lighting for her content. That magical time right before sunset when the light is soft and warm and perfect for Instagram. So we had to eat dinner at 4:30 in the winter, 9 o'clock in the summer. Our schedule bent around the sun's position. I'd be hungry at 6, but we couldn't eat because the lighting was harsh. I'd suggest we just eat, and she'd look at me like I'd suggested we burn down the house. Our kitchen transformed. She bought a ring light, a portable backdrop, a tripod for her phone. The counter space where we used to prep meals together became her studio. I'd come home from work to find her staging scenes, setting up a cup of coffee she wouldn't drink, arranging flowers she'd bought just for photos, creating moments that looked spontaneous but took an hour to orchestrate. This is insane, I said one evening, watching her adjust a throw blanket on the couch for the 11th time. This is intentional living, she corrected. The girls say if you're not curating your environment, you're letting life happen to you instead of creating it. I wanted to point out that she was so busy creating content about her life that she'd stopped actually living it. But I knew how that conversation would go. I'd be accused of not understanding, of being unsupportive, of trying to hold her back from her growth. Then the captions started getting darker, more pointed, more concerning. She'd post couple photos, usually from our early years together when we were actually happy, and pair them with vague melancholy text that made it sound like our relationship was dying. Sometimes the hardest person to love is yourself when you've lost yourself in someone else. Growing means outgrowing, even when it's uncomfortable. What if everything you thought was right was actually holding you back? The cage you built yourself is still a cage, even if it's comfortable. Each post got hundreds of comments. Are you okay? You deserve to be happy. Choose yourself, queen. Strangers offering relationship advice based on carefully crafted captions designed to generate exactly that response. And Ashley ate it up. Would read me the comments like they were profound wisdom. See, people get it. They understand what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? I asked. Because you haven't told me about any of this. I'm learning about problems in my marriage through Instagram captions. It's not about you. It's about my journey. Your journey away from our marriage. She got defensive immediately. See, this is exactly what the girls warned me about. You're trying to control my self-expression. They said you'd get threatened when I started being authentic. Authentic. That word again. There was nothing authentic about staging your life for strangers and calling it honesty. Nothing real about performing vulnerability for engagement metrics. The posts continued. Got more pointed. Friends started reaching out. My brother called. Dude, what's going on? Ashley's posts are making it sound like you guys are on the verge of breaking up. My sister sent concerned texts. Is everything okay? Do you want to talk? Even Ashley's own parents called me. We're worried about you too. Ashley's social media is concerning. I had no good answer for any of them. I didn't know what was happening. My wife was publicly documenting the death of our marriage, and I was finding out about it the same way everyone else was. Through carefully filtered photos and ambiguous captions written for maximum sympathy and engagement. She started posting more frequently about finding herself and questioning everything. Her Instagram stories showed her at circle meetups, coffee dates with Vanessa, weekend workshops, content planning sessions. Never mentioned that these were happening during our planned couple time. Never mentioned that she was canceling our plans to attend them. I discovered the extent of it when I checked our shared calendar. Date night, the one we'd had every Friday for 6 years, was deleted. In its place, circle content strategy session. Our anniversary dinner, a reservation I'd made months in advance at her favorite restaurant, was changed to breakthrough workshop with V. When I confronted her, she didn't even apologize. The girls say that sometimes growth requires sacrifice. Old patterns have to break for new ones to form. Old patterns like spending time with your husband. Old patterns like prioritizing a relationship over my personal development. I felt something shift inside me. This woman standing in front of me, spouting lines that had clearly been fed to her by 3 failures, wasn't the person I'd married. The person I'd married valued connection over content, valued presence over performance, valued us over the validation of strangers. The wedding ring disappeared next. First from photos. It doesn't photograph well, she explained when I noticed its absence from her carefully curated Instagram grid. The glare messes up the lighting. Then from her hand entirely. I found it one morning on the bathroom counter, sitting next to her phone charger. Abandoned like our Sunday morning tradition. Like our Saturday hikes. Like everything else she decided didn't serve her personal brand. The girls say marriage shouldn't be your whole identity, she said when I asked about it. I need to show up as myself, not as someone's wife. You are someone's wife. You're my wife. That's not a limitation. That's a choice you made. A choice I made when I was 23 and didn't know who I was yet. And these women who can't keep their own relationships together, they know who you are better than you do? She didn't answer, just picked up her phone and walked away. Probably to tell the circle about how unsupportive and controlling I was being. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. I was scrolling through Facebook after work and saw the notification. Ashley Mitchell changed her relationship status. I clicked it. Her status now showed, it's complicated. No conversation. No warning. Just a public announcement of private issues that, as far as I knew, didn't exist until she created them. My phone exploded. Text from my brother. My sister. Friends I hadn't talked to in months. Dude, what happened? Are you guys okay? Did you know she changed her status? Ashley walked in an hour later, phone in hand, smiling at her screen. I looked up at her. Want to tell me about your relationship status change? She glanced at me, unbothered. Oh, you saw that. The girls thought it would be empowering to publicly acknowledge that I'm in a period of reflection about my life. Period of reflection? We're married. That's exactly the kind of binary thinking that keeps people trapped. Relationships are complex. It's honest to show that. I felt something cold settle in my chest. It's honest to talk to your husband before announcing to the world that your marriage is in trouble. It's not announcing trouble. It's expressing nuance. Plus, the girls say that sometimes public declarations help clarify private truths. What private truths? She looked at me like I was slow. That I'm not sure anymore if I made the right choice getting married so young. That maybe I followed a script instead of listening to myself. I watched this stranger wearing my wife's face deliver lines that had clearly been rehearsed with her advisors. Vanessa says public vulnerability is powerful. People need to see real relationships, not filtered perfection. Your public vulnerability is making our private business everyone's entertainment. You just don't get it. This is how authentic living works. That's when I knew exactly what needed to happen. While she went upstairs to change, probably into something photographable, I pulled out my phone, opened Facebook, clicked on my relationship status, changed it to single, posted it. Then I sat back and waited. 20 minutes later, I heard her phone start exploding upstairs. Buzz after buzz after buzz. Then her voice, panicked. What? No, that's not what I meant. She ran downstairs, phone in hand, face pale. What did you do? I looked up calmly from my book. Updated my relationship status. You know, for authenticity. You changed it to single? We're not getting divorced. Aren't we? You made our relationship complicated without asking me. I simplified it without asking you. Seems fair. Her hands were shaking as she looked at her phone. People think we're divorced. They're congratulating me. Congratulating you? I raised an eyebrow. Interesting. On what exactly? She fumbled for words. On being free, on being brave enough to, it doesn't matter. Change it back. Why? You wanted public honesty about our relationship status. I'm being public and honest. I'm single. You made that decision when you declared our marriage complicated to 2,000 people before discussing it with me. I just wanted to share my truth. And I'm sharing mine. My truth is I'm not in a complicated relationship. I'm not in a relationship at all with someone who treats our marriage like content for her followers. You're being dramatic. I'm being public. Isn't that what you wanted? Her phone kept buzzing. Vanessa was calling. The group chat was exploding. I could see the comments rolling in on her Facebook. So happy you're finally free. You deserve someone who appreciates you. Divorce is hard, but you'll get through this. She was reading them, horror spreading across her face. I stood up, walked to our bedroom, and removed my wedding ring. Came back downstairs and set it on the coffee table between us. Since we're being authentic. She stared at the ring like I'd put a gun on the table. You can't be serious. Dead serious. You spent 6 weeks telling everyone who'd listen that our marriage was complicated and you weren't sure you made the right choice. Well, congratulations. You've convinced me. But I didn't actually want a divorce. Then what did you want? The question hung there. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I wanted validation, recognition, to be seen. Seen by strangers on the internet instead of by your husband sitting across from you every morning? It's not the same. You're right. One's real. One's performance. You chose performance. She tried everything over the next few days. First came the tears. She sobbed that she never meant for it to go this far. I pointed out that she meant for it to go exactly this far, just not publicly. She wanted to hint at problems, get sympathy and attention, while keeping me as her safety net. Then came the anger. You're punishing me for being honest, she yelled. I reminded her that I was matching her energy. She wanted public declarations about our relationship status. I gave her one. Then came the guilt. What about everything we built together? She asked, tears streaming. I told her she'd dismantled it publicly. I was just acknowledging what she did. Then the bargaining. I'll delete my accounts. All of them. Right now. I watched her pull up Instagram on her phone, finger hovering over the delete button. Do it for yourself, not for me, I said. The damage is done. Finally came the blame. The girls are right. You're trying to control how I present myself. I almost laughed. The girls are congratulating you on a divorce. How's that working out? The authenticity circle started fracturing. Vanessa posted a 47-slide Instagram story defending Ashley. When men weaponize your authenticity against you. She got destroyed in the comments. You convinced her to implode her marriage for content. Her follower count dropped by 3,000 in 2 days. Kelsey made a TikTok. Red flags when your partner can't handle your growth. The comments section tore her apart. Red flag when you take marriage advice from someone who's never been married. Girl, you live in a garage. Maybe focus on your own growth. Amanda tried to mediate with a post about supporting your girls through transformation. Her fiancé commented, "Are you serious right now?" They broke up 3 days later. She deleted the post. The unconditional support Ashley had been promised turned out to be very conditional. When she showed me the group chat messages, trying to prove they cared, I saw the truth. Maybe take a break from posting for a few days? Vanessa had written. Translation, you're making us look bad. Ashley found my lawyer consultation paperwork a week later. You actually went to a divorce lawyer? You publicly declared our marriage complicated. I'm getting clarity on what that means legally. But I didn't actually want a divorce. Then what did you want? Another long silence. She had no answer. Because the truth was, she wanted drama without consequences. Attention without accountability. To perform a crisis while keeping her comfortable life. Can we fix this? She finally asked. We could have fixed it before you made our marriage a public spectacle. Now everyone you know thinks we're divorcing. How do you walk that back without admitting you staged drama for attention? She had no answer for that either. I made one final Facebook post. Update for everyone asking. I'm doing well. Taking time to focus on authentic living, which for me means living life instead of curating it. Relationships are meant to be experienced, not performed. Some lessons are learned the hard way. Wishing everyone genuine connection over filtered performances. I didn't mention Ashley by name. Didn't have to. The post got 400 likes. 150 supportive comments. Her parents commented. Proud of you, Brandon. My friends chimed in. Real recognize real. Meanwhile, Ashley's last few posts had been getting single-digit engagement. Her followers sensed that the authenticity she'd been preaching was always performance. The algorithm doesn't reward fakeness. For months after I changed my status to single, I ran into Ashley's cousin Jenna at the Whole Foods in Center City. She looked uncomfortable the moment she saw me, like she'd been caught between loyalty to family and truth. How's Ashley doing? I asked, genuinely curious. Jenna sighed, the kind of deep exhausted sigh that said she'd been dealing with Ashley's drama for months. Not great, honestly. She moved into this tiny studio apartment near Temple University. Had to take whatever lease she could afford. The rent's eating up most of her paycheck. She's working overtime just to cover bills. No more designer coffee. No more golden hour dinners. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd thrown away a life where we split expenses, where she never had to worry about making rent. All for the fantasy her advisors had sold her. What about her content creation? Jenna actually laughed. Short and bitter. She deleted everything about 3 months ago. Couldn't handle the comments. Once people figured out what she'd done, that she'd manufactured drama for engagement, they weren't kind. It got brutal. And the authenticity circle. They scattered like roaches when the light came on. Vanessa's engagement tanked. She's working retail at King of Prussia now. Gave up the Rittenhouse apartment. Kelsey moved back to Cleveland with her parents. That garage studio was costing too much. And Amanda? That engagement ended exactly how everyone predicted. She's back living with her parents in Fort Worth. 35 years old, twice divorced, posting motivational quotes from other people. How's Ashley handling being alone? She's struggling. Really struggling. All those posts about independence didn't mention coming home to an empty studio apartment. Having no one to talk to except a therapist she can barely afford. She keeps asking if I know any single guys, which is super awkward since she's still married to you. She hasn't filed? Neither have you. I'm waiting to see if she learned anything. Jenna looked at me with understanding. Between us? I think she has. But she's too proud to admit it. She knows she messed up. Threw away something real for something fake. Ashley started texting me a few weeks later. Not apologetic, not yet, but reaching out in small ways. How have you been? Miss our conversations. Remember when we used to hike Wissahickon Valley Park? I'd send back one-word replies. Fine. Yeah, I remember. Not cold, but not encouraging either. She sent me a photo one day that surprised me. Her, no makeup, no filters, genuine smile I hadn't seen in over a year. Sitting on a hiking trail, hair in a messy ponytail, wearing an old t-shirt from our early years. Caption, trying to remember who I was before I got lost. It was the first real thing she'd posted in months. I looked at it for a long time. Didn't respond. Some lessons take time to sink in. 6 months after the status change, I was thriving. Started a Saturday morning hiking group through Meetup. 12 regular members who showed up to experience nature, not photograph it. People who valued conversation over captions. I'd started dating someone casually. Rachel taught middle school English. Didn't have Instagram or TikTok. Didn't have Facebook except for a dormant account from college. She read physical books. Had real conversations over coffee without phone interruptions. When we went to dinner, she ate her food while it was hot. Saw me instead of seeing me as content. Ashley had completely reversed course. Deleted Instagram and TikTok. Started seeing a therapist twice a week. Joined a support group for social media addiction. She was trying to find herself again, but this time doing the work instead of performing it. My relationship status stayed single. Not because I was holding a grudge, but because some bridges, once burned for content, can't be rebuilt. Because I'd learned I deserve someone who values private moments over public validation. I don't hate Ashley. I pity her. She let 3 failing women convince her that performance equals depth. That complications make you interesting when they just make you exhausting. That broadcasting your life makes it more meaningful when it makes it less real. She wanted to be seen so badly, she stopped seeing what was in front of her. The authenticity circles sold her a lie. Real relationships happen in private moments no camera captures. Real love doesn't need an audience. Ashley learned that lesson the hard way. By the time she figured out what she'd lost, the show was over. The audience had moved on, and her husband had changed the channel permanently. Vanessa's working retail now. Her Instagram sits dormant. Last post from 5 months ago, comments turned off. Kelsey got engaged to her high school sweetheart back in Ohio. Scrubbed all her dating advice content. Amanda's living with her parents in Fort Worth, posting motivational quotes she copies from other people. The authenticity circle disbanded. Turns out authenticity and performance can't coexist. Ashley got her public relationship. I got my private peace. She changed her status to "it's complicated." I changed mine to single. And in the end, everyone learned which one was telling the truth. Some people need to destroy something real to learn the difference between performance and presence. Ashley performed a crisis for attention and got exactly what she was performing for. A divorce she didn't actually want. Loneliness she didn't actually need. Struggle she could have avoided. All because 3 failures convinced her that likes matter more than love. That followers are more valuable than a partner. That being seen by strangers is better than being known by someone who chose you every single day. She wanted authenticity. She got it. Turns out authentic consequences hurt more than filtered ones. And there's no ring light bright enough to hide from the truth. When you trade real connection for online validation, you end up with neither. Class was in session. Reality was a harsh teacher. And my wife learned exactly what happens when you let an audience of strangers direct your marriage. The show ended. The reviews were brutal. And the star discovered too late that some performances cost everything. She wanted to be like her friends. She got her wish. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.